Welcome everybody to Habs tonight. This is Drew and Annik joining you for a sadder episode tonight. This is my first episode back in like a long time, and it's the last one I really wanted to do. And nothing's official, Annik, but I mean, after hearing Marc Bergevin say that Shea Weber's career is very likely to be over, just has me all kind of sad. So here we are.
It's not the type of news that we were hoping for, that's for sure. I mean, but it's something that we were all expecting. I mean, not just us as a team, but I mean as a fan base too. You kind of knew it was coming, but it's news that stings regardless of when you hear it. So not the type of show we're looking forward to do, but there was some positives from Bergevin's presser today. So I mean, we will talk about that too. But for now, we are going to be without our captain, Shea Weber, for the upcoming season and possibly forever. So it is what it is. And like I've been saying throughout the whole day, it's not something that's easy to hear. It's not something that you like to see when it comes to losing your captain, losing an extremely great hockey player. But you have to think of the hockey player's life outside of hockey as well, right? So for me, I hope he's going to be okay after retirement, and he still has a young family to take care of. So that's what matters right now. It's his health outside of hockey and his rehab.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to try to focus on that, but like there has to be a grieving period as well, I think. So like,
oh yeah.
I wish we weren't there right now. And like, depending on who's writing the article in the media today, there's some that are saying Marc Bergevin is suggesting that Shea Weber's career could be in jeopardy. But I mean, out of Marc Bergevin's mouth, when it comes from him directly after saying he had an emotional conversation with Shea, that his career is likely over, that's a tough one to take. I mean, now it makes sense why Webbs was so emotional at the end of that game when Tampa won the Stanley Cup. And I didn't fully see it. Like, I didn't really catch on to that like maybe he was thinking it was his last game and that the team must have known it. I mean, he must have had, I think we heard in the media also that he had a talk with the team before the series was over, right? That like an emotional chat with the guys, basically saying like, we need to find a way here. I think it was Dale even touched on it. And Webbs has been playing hurt for a long time by the looks of it, and I think we knew that, but I mean, did we know for sure that this was it? No, I don't think we did.
No, we saw in the past couple of years, he's been battling through injuries, missing several games in a row and coming back stronger as always. And during the end of the season, even this year, you kind of saw him not being the usual Weber that he wasn't taking big slap shots from the point like he usually does. It was a different kind of game he was playing. But if you're taking a look at how he played throughout the end of the playoffs, you wouldn't have been able to tell that he was injured, right? He was playing some incredible hockey. He was giving it all that he had, and now it makes even more sense. That last hug at the end, it's all coming together now when you look back at it. You're telling me the guys knew, he knew this was his last Stanley Cup playoff push. Was his last shot. So that's what stings the most, is that he's worked so hard throughout this incredible career to get here, and it's not ending the way we wanted it to.
No, it's not. And he's captain, and I remember just getting the notification in like, what was it, 2018? Like, it hasn't even been 3 years that Shea Weber became the 30th captain in Montreal Canadiens history. And I remember just being like happy because it was such a natural fit. You knew he was going to get the C, and at some point we'll talk about who's going to get it next. I think we have a good feeling who that's going to be. But just at this point, it's just, I'm glad we had several hours in between the news and coming on live tonight, because, like, I felt genuinely sad. Like, this is a player you can tell behind me who I've fully supported, wearing his T-shirt, getting his retro jersey, not even like 9 months ago. So definitely a player that had an effect on me. I mean, like, I don't know the guy personally, we would love to get him on Habs tonight. I mean, Shea's not one for interviews really, so that might be a tough get. We've talked to Dale about it. I mean, the truth is Webbs just isn't that kind of like he's not the type maybe to do it. I don't know. I mean, we'll still try at some point. Maybe we could find some other leverage. Like, hey, maybe if we get Carey on with Shea, maybe he'll do it just the way they did in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and try to get some leverage, because it would be awesome to have Shea on. And that's not, if it happens, it happens. But I mean, it does sound like he's a guy that maybe just doesn't want to dig that kind of thing, and he's a private
Which is
guy.
okay. Which
That's
is
totally
okay.
fine.
We have to respect that.
We have to. I mean, that's not what it's all about. But when it comes to, certain hockey players of your team, there's only so many that are really going to kind of get you in the heart, if you will. And he's not an emotional guy until you saw him at the end of the Stanley Cup playoffs there. But there's only so many players that, for me, have an impact on you directly. And you want to get their jersey. You want to get their shirt. You want to support them. And you just love everything about them. And that's when he got traded here. No offense to PK, I was one of the only few that was like really fired up about it, because I just knew the kind of player he was, coming from Team Canada, one of my favorite players to watch on Team Canada. And everything that he did, just the presence, all the things that you can see through a TV screen that you're pretty sure you can get a sense of how a player is. That's what we were getting in Shea Weber. And I was so excited when we got traded. At first I was sad. I'm like, oh, like PK's gone. And then took me about 5 minutes to realize, like, oh, we have Shea Weber. Like, we have Shea Weber coming in. So really excited,
I was a bit of the opposite for that trade. I'm not afraid to admit it. I was a big Subban supporter, big Subban lover. I mean, I think the whole fan base was, and it was a shocker to see that he left. It stings. It stung when he left too, because he did so much for the community, so much for the fan base, that when you lose the type of player that he was, especially when he was playing that great, it's obviously not fun. But after calming down, obviously it takes some grieving time, you do realize that you're getting a guy like Shea Weber back on your team, who's actively an active defenseman, leading still in PowerPoint goals and everything. Like, this guy is just an unbelievable hockey player. He's had an incredible career, and it just sucks that we couldn't get it done for him in the end.
Yeah, I mean, to get this close as they did. And that Tampa series, I mean, Montreal, how in it were they? I don't know. I mean, I was fearing the worst, like you and I both were. I think in our private chats, we were just sad about how far we'd come, and just kind of seeing the reality of the Tampa Bay Lightning just being the dominant force that they were. So for me, what kind of is tough is, like, looking at the Stanley Cup run, because it was so unprecedented and unpredictable, and to get that far. But when you're there, it doesn't feel like that to the guys. I mean, when Josh Anderson got that overtime goal to win Game 4, anything was possible at that point. And, it was only one goal. That it only took Tampa Bay one goal to finish off the Canadiens. And it just sucks that they didn't have a better chance to get at least a second win in that series, because then you would have felt like a little bit more of a jolt, like the Canadiens really were 2 wins away from a cup. And I just wish they would have got a little closer, because I think Carey, we still have some time with him. Who knows what his injury situation's like, but I mean, it sounds like they're not nearly as worried about Carey as they are about Shea. So
no, for sure, that's what it sounds like.
That's some positive news.
Like you said too, like just to touch back on the Tampa series. I mean, it's done. Congratulations to the Lightning for being the better team and winning, obviously. But we could have easily won, like, that game too. We deserve that game, and having won that, anything could have happened. Like you said, it would have been a 1-1 series, and anything can happen at that point. So it's obviously we can't live on the what ifs and buts, but that's what it is. But that's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, I was going to say, I pulled up Weber's stats here because, I mean, I'm still, like, I'm probably just in denial, but I'm still hopeful that they're, I believe in miracles, so I can't hide that. I just am a believer in miracles, and this would be maybe a miracle, literally maybe a medical miracle for Shea Weber to come back to the NHL. 6 years left, or is it 5? Yeah, it's 5. So there's 5 years left at a cap hit of $7.85 million. And the Canadiens have a lot of money tied up in this player. And there's a reason for that, because of what he brings to the team. So that's why it's such a gut hit. I mean, like, we knew last week that he was going to be out for next season, but when your own general manager comes out and says directly, there's a good chance he's not coming back at all. Like, that was a gut hit for me today. So that's why,
Definitely.
you and I just, concurred to get this live chat together, right? Because
Yeah.
we appreciate this guy so much. And yeah,
We're
it's good. It's therapeutic for us.
We're officially calling this a group therapy session. So if you feel like expressing your emotions, whether they are sad, positive, whatever they are, send us an email at live@habstonight.com. Come on the show with us and let's talk about it. I mean, why not? Right? I've seen a lot of people very upset, like not angry, but just sad and disappointed and depressed. So, just come on and talk with us. We'll hear you out. We're pretty sad too. So Drew and I have been texting back and forth all day about our sadness. So
it's
just been that kind of day. But I guess until somebody emails, we can touch on something that's a little bit more positive. Is Jonathan Drouin is doing much better, which is awesome to hear, and almost confirmed that he would be back for training camp. So that is amazing news for the team.
It is very good news, and I think it was surprising news for some of us. I think that you kind of just bought what you were hearing in the media. Like, that's the problem, is you buy what you're hearing in the media too much, and that's why we try to be different at Habs Tonight and not be your typical media outlet, because we don't want to be that guy or that girl that's saying stuff that you don't know for sure about. You just have an opinion. So, so I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of us didn't think that Drouin was going to be coming back. That's kind of the consensus. And now to hear that the opposite is true, where he's ready to come back and he wants to come back, that is encouraging. I mean, I always wanted to see Drouin play alongside Suzuki and Caulfield. Like, that could just be a pure skill line.
He's a playmaker, right? You kind of you saw it with who do I want to say? Domi, when he used to play with Max Domi. Those two were lethal together, So I'm kind of curious what that line would look like and how it would perform. Why not try it out?
Yeah, I think so. I just that is a line that I actually expected to have. Like, before we knew Drouin was going to take a leave of absence and we knew Caulfield was going to be, with the team, I just kind of figured Drouin would be one of those players they would try with him. So, so I think that if anything, it's good news. And Jonathan Drouin is a player that we've been curious about for a long time. It's been really quiet around his front. I mean, they gave him the privacy that he asked for, right? So in that sense, I hope that he's all well. And that is a good thing, because we do, even Bergevin was saying how once Dominic Ducharme came into the fold, it was the best hockey Drouin's been playing. I don't know that was true. I thought he played pretty good with Domi, and I thought he played good with Suzuki in the bubble last year. But that being said, in terms of the future, he knows that Dominic Ducharme is the guy, and he coached him in the Memorial Cup run they had years ago.
Yeah.
So I just think that it's encouraging on a day like today, where it wasn't all bad news, with Weber. Likely, it's still hard to believe. Like, even saying it, I'm still not fully sold on it yet. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder, the only thing that came into my head today that might give us some hope is maybe the Canadians are doing one of those, like, under promise, over deliver kind of things. Like, okay,
could be,
he's going to retire most likely, guys. Sorry, we're putting it out there. That means he has all the time in the world. What if he wants to come back in a year and a half from now and come back for the 2022-23 season halfway through, because she's just got one last push in him, and he's got 4 years left on his deal at that point still. So that's maybe a long shot in the dark, and maybe I'm just going off this trying to create a miracle scenario, because I probably am, but not really, because I mean, depending on if it's like not life-threatening, but career-threatening or threatening to his future, if it's a possibility, I think this maybe was the best way to go about it, by maybe just under promise, just give the worst case scenario to the public, to everybody, and then behind the scenes, Shea can do whatever he wants, and he can go out on his terms. I think that Shea Weber deserves to go out on his terms. Like, That's
Oh, yeah.
that's where I'm at right now.
He's definitely earned that respect of do whatever you want, buddy, because you've earned it. And I mean, knowing Shea Weber, he would be the type of player that would do exactly what you said. He would give every single minute of his time to rehab, push, and try to come back. And if it doesn't work out, well, then it doesn't work out. He knows that he's tried it all. So that's why I have 10% of me saying, you know what, this kid might actually just surprise the hell out of us, come back, get it done. Or it might actually just be it, and it has to sink in that, you know what, you guys, it is what it is. But like I said, could be the guy that pulls it off. So if he does, I mean, more power to him. And I think somebody said it in the chat here. Justin Williams did something like this, no?
Mr. Game 7.
Semi-retired and came back.
Yeah, the only problem with that is Weber has like 3 more injuries than Justin Williams has.
Yeah, a little bit more banged up. Yes, let's put it out there. But yeah. I mean,
but here's another thing that just popped into my head, and I think this is valid because guys who love the game, which I mean, we know guys. He's a gamer. Weber's a gamer. He's been doing this all his life. This is all he knows. So if there's anything in him, anything, and you can defy the odds what the doctors say and all that stuff. If there's anything in him that thinks that he can still do it in a year and a half from now, after surgery or whatever he ultimately decides, he's gonna do it because Michael Jordan. Funny reference here, but Michael Jordan wasn't
full on
injured.
to Jordan.
Yeah, wasn't injured, but he was 99% sure that he wanted to retire with the Chicago Bulls. And then he loved the game so much and missed it so much that he came back to play with another team. Now, Weber's still under contract for another 5 years, right? So yeah, he's not going anywhere. But I just think that if there's anything in him, and he's such a warrior, I don't know. I mean, I just don't believe everything Bart Bergevin tells us. And I don't think Bertie's a liar per se, but I mean, he said he wasn't going to trade Galchenyuk, and he freaking traded Galchenyuk. He said he wasn't going to trade PK Subban. He traded PK Subban. So Bergevin's going to tell you what his players want you to hear. So I'm not convinced fully. Maybe I'm just trying to throw a shot in the dark, like I said, but why not? I mean, the guy's got 5 years left on his deal. Let him decide. Shea Weber's going to be the one to decide. And I'm thinking to myself today, picturing the press conference where he announces his retirement. Well, let me ask you this. Do you think it's going to be a full season before Weber decides his future? Or do you think this is going to happen sooner than later and that's it?
I'm 100%, this is just my personal hot take here, I'm expecting for him not to play at all this season. And when our season ends next year, he's going to announce that he's retiring. I'm not expecting him to be in December, poof, you know what, it's really going to shit, I'm not going to come back, and announce a retirement in the middle of a season to pull off a distraction from the guys. This would be a huge distraction, in my opinion. Much better. Yeah. End of the season would be extremely perfect for him to announce. Obviously, I'm not wishing that he's going to announce it here, but it would be the perfect timing in an ideal situation for him to announce his retirement. And like Derek said here too, I mean, take the season, see where it takes you. That's what we've been saying. But in my personal opinion, my hot take is that he's going to take this year to either get the surgeries that he needs, whatever he needs done. And then once he sees where his health is bringing him, he's either going to announce that he's retiring or taking more time. So that's just my hot take. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I hope, my hope right now, take a year. Take a year.
At least. Yeah.
At least, right? Next July, I would expect we're going to get in, or maybe sooner. If the Canadian season doesn't go to July, which nobody's season should go to July because we just got the full schedule released an hour ago. And it looks as if the season should be over in June. So it was a tough thing to take today, I got to say. And there's just not that many players that really, I'm just super proud to have on the team. Weber's a future Hockey Hall of Famer, Olympian.
Yeah, just missing his cup.
Slap shots in the entire NHL. The most, does he have the most power play goals all time, or is he up there? I think
He's up there. So I don't know if anybody in the chat has
we're not stats guys.
No, we're not stats guys. But if anybody has the actual stats of where Weber stands, I mean, feel free to throw them out there.
We'll throw some stats out right now. So far, 1,038 games played for Shea Weber, 224 goals. This is a defenseman, by the way. Don't forget. 365 assists, 589 points, 714 penalty minutes. In the playoffs, 97 games played, 18 goals scored, 24 assists, 42 points, and 106 penalty minutes. So a career right now sitting at 1,038 games is not a bad thing to hang your hat on. I just feel like Shea Weber's just too stubborn and too, unless it's a family decision, you got to consider his wife and kids in this, right? Like that's a huge factor. Yeah. So like the non-hockey side factors in more than ever now. So I think that he's just the kind of guy that, will want to make sure that he's 100% sure on this decision. And today is a weight off his shoulders to say, Webbs, we're not expecting you back, but if you want to come back, brother, you are going to be welcome back with open arms.
The door is open. Yeah. Thank you, Justin, for the quick stat here, by the way.
Yeah. Weber is 10th overall power play goals. So a little bit less, but in terms of,
it's still impressive. Yeah. We're going to bring our first guest in. We got Damon in. How's it going, Damon? Nope. Or not.
Nope. His mic is muted there. Well, that's okay. We'll get him on in a sec.
I want to bring... where's this comment here?
A lot of comments.
Thanks for
the interaction.
Yes, thanks, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, you like and you share. Helps us out. I want to bring this comment up here. Will there be a captain this season? And
I don't think there should be.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. My personal hot take on this is no, not until, out of respect, not until Weber retires.
I'm not a captain like him.
No. Obviously, like Bertie said, you cannot replace this guy, which is fine, but he's not somebody that I would put another C on right away. I mean, in my heart, it's Galley who should be getting the next captain patch on the chest. That's no questions asked here. But out of respect for Shea until he fully retires, I'm not putting the C on anybody else this year or whatever time it takes.
The Montreal Canadiens are too classy of an organization to do that. So I'm with you. I don't think they will. I think Galley's obviously next in line. There he is. What's going on, Damon?
Going good. Yeah, so this one is pretty tough. Yeah.
It is, man.
It is. It hasn't been the easiest day. What's your take on this?
For me, my big take on it is that it's called. For me, I just find it's just tough, but I just hope everything can be okay with him because I do think that he's still an elite defenseman when he's at his peak, and I just think that I just have the funny feeling that this isn't the end for him.
Nah, I like it. Damon.
I just think this may send him back a year or two, but I just think he'll come back one day, but you never know. But also this room, if we put the what's it called, the contract on LTIR, this does open up room for a bigger free agent such as Dougie Hamilton or someone, or at the very least, I hope Marc Bergevin could go at least with a 1-year deal with Ryan Murray from New Jersey, because I think that he's a good he's been deemed a good prospect, but just hasn't had the opportunity to show it. And I think in Montreal, I think he could potentially step up in Weber's absence.
Yeah. That's a solid point.
It's sort of the guy I'm hoping for this season that can maybe eat up some of the minutes that Weber took up a lot of throughout the season, and also instead of having to overwork a lot of our big four, he can also bring some more stability, and also Romanov as well.
I think personally that we might go after Ristolainen, and then it was reported that the Canadiens were looking at Ristolainen in Buffalo because he's only got 1 year left on his deal, and that's perfect because that's the time slot you're looking to fill. And Ristolainen's experienced, I think, and he's also a big body and he can shoot. So, I think that Ristolainen makes a lot of sense for the Canadiens, at least
at the right price.
Yeah,
he's under contract for at least 1 more year. So let's look at his cap hit right now. So his cap hit is 5.4. So 2.2 million or so less than Shea's cap hit, so 5.4 left for one more season. I think that
It's not
is
bad.
a tough one to pass up if he's willing.
It's reasonable for sure. Yeah, if he's willing to. Yeah.
I think so. Ristolainen is also from Finland, so another Finnish guy for KK, for Lehkonen, to be bros with, if you will. Maybe if Armia comes back, another.
Yeah.
Right. So there's some Finnish connections there, but also I just think it makes sense if you're looking at the market, and we'll get into the forward group at some point as well. But I think Ristolainen makes a lot of sense right now. He's a guy that, some people have questioned his attitude at times. I've heard on him, but I don't think you can think about that right now. I don't think you can care about that as long as you're bringing a guy like that in that will do his job. I think he's very much worth going after this offseason.
I agree. I know, the thing is with the attitude issues, I don't think it's really his fault. But he hasn't made the playoffs. I don't remember the exact stat, but he hasn't made the playoffs. I don't know if it's at all in his career, but he's had a tough time in Buffalo. And I think that if he makes Montreal and comes to Montreal, just think next year if we end up making the playoffs, because the Atlantic Division is going to be much tougher next year, because Ottawa is looking like a better team. We also got Florida, which Bill Zito is doing something special with them. Tampa Bay still, Julian Brisebois is doing pretty good right now. In my opinion, I thought that they would be hurt more by the expansion draft, but they didn't have to make a side deal to let go of Tyler Johnson and the picks. But they just lost Danny Gord, who's still going to be a big loss. And then you also got Boston, who reportedly today they re-signed Taylor Hall.
Yep.
And Montreal could potentially battle for that 5th spot. So yeah, and Toronto, depending on what they do, Kyle Dubas said this today on Tim and Friends that he plans on winning the cup with this core, which I don't know if they will personally, but I think that they. I personally wasn't a fan of them signing Tavares because it takes away from their organizational depth. And
yeah. I mean, you got to win a playoff round first before you're talking about the cup. So the Leafs have to win it.
Yeah, you've got some big shoes to fill before you can get to the big shoes. So tone it down a little bit.
It's not but it's not a slam. It's just of course he's going to say that. He believes that the core.
Yeah, of course, it's your job as a GM to say it. Of course you want, but I mean, you've got some more important things to focus on before thinking about planning a parade right now. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What do you guys think of? I've seen a few people in the chat here mentioning it. Could we benefit for the right price of a guy like Seth Jones?
For Seth Jones, for me, I like Seth Jones. I've always been a fan of his, and he's always had good chemistry with Weber back when they played in Nashville. But after hearing some of the prices, I don't know, because I heard a rumor that in Chicago, apparently they're asking for Kirby Dach and first round pick or something. That's what I heard. Which, if I'm just saying, I don't know, I don't want to give up that kind of future assets, because I would if I were Chicago, I wouldn't give up those assets because Chicago's a rebuilding team. But for me, if I'm on those guys, that's kind of an expensive price for him. And he hasn't played the greatest this year. But I think personally that Seth Jones is a better defenseman I find when he plays with Zach Werenski. So I just don't know how we'll fit in Montreal in this currently right now, unless we get another offensive defenseman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
it makes sense.
Well, right now Seth Jones' cap hit is 5.4, which actually isn't far off of Rasmus Ristolainen, and actually he's now. Am I reading this right? That he's a UFA next year, or is he a UFA right now? Because I couldn't get that confirmed here.
I'll check right now.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see, because if Seth Jones has 1 year left on his deal, that's another good option for the Canadiens to look at. But I'm just trying to get this sort of accurate here, so we don't guess on it. But his cap hit is currently 5.4, expiry status 2022, so he does have a year left. Seth Jones is 6'4", not really an offensive defenseman, but could play well with, say, I don't know, even Kulak or.
Yeah.
And you know what? What if the Habs actually also go after Suter? He was just released from Minnesota as well, so that's another option for the Canes too. And I think you have to consider it. It's Ryan Suter, right? Also a former teammate of Shea Weber, and he's left-handed. But his cap hit is very, very large, so I don't think the Canadiens are going to entertain that. Actually, his cap hit is 7.5 for the next 3 seasons. So I don't think Ryan Suter is going to be coming the Canadiens' way. Yeah. Never mind.
And also, he got bought out, so that's it. I remember him and Parise both got bought out at the same time, and I heard a weird story about it where Parise got bought out and he was devastated, and then Ryan Suter was trying to calm him down and like talk about the whole thing. And then Ryan Suter got a phone call apparently where he was told that he was bought out, and then Ryan Suter just got furious. Like, they're doing everything in their power to bring Kaprizov back in Minnesota, and even if it means buying out those two.
There's a lot of different moves that have been going around where I'm trying to find not only the logic behind it, but there's no explanation, right? Like, I'm taking a look at, just completely off subject here, I'm taking a look at Carolina today, who just trades off their best prospect, their best goalie so far. Right now they have no goalies apart from Jonathan Bernier, who's a UFA. So, I mean, I know there's a lot of guys available right now, but I feel like you would keep that guy as your first goalie and then take another one as a backup. There's still solid choices. So, like, I don't know what these teams are doing lately.
Yeah, that's a former Niagara Ice Dog too, that goalie, Delkovich. So he's a hometown guy for us here in Niagara. Yeah. And man, he did well when he was in Niagara too. Like, he showed some great potential, and now look at him, he's getting dealt. And it's a weird move by Carolina, but I don't think behind the scenes we always fully understand what's going on. But
no, for sure.
Nobody in the hockey world is able to make sense of it right now. That's for sure. Steve
Yzerman even said he thought that he'd have to give up more assets for Nedeljkovic. I was just surprised when I saw it, and apparently they only offered Nedeljkovic $1.5 million. And yeah, you got the guy. I understand it's a flat cap, but I think you got to give the guy his money, because he's gonna be your big starter for the first time in a while. And I've heard people compare Nedeljkovic to having a Jordan Binnington type season, which I could potentially see it happening maybe next year, but definitely not in 2021 season. But that's honestly an interesting comparison in my opinion. But both goalies had interesting World Juniors when they were in it. Nedeljkovic placed third, and Binnington led Canada to a fourth place finish. And then both of them just really they were both in the AHL for a while, then came out and just played really well at the NHL level.
No, 100%. It's it's gonna be tough.
I am with this comment from Adam, by the way, and someone else actually says they're from St. Catharines. So hello, St. Catharines, one town over from me.
Thank you for joining.
Get off track there, but I have to say, the more now that we know the news on Weber in terms of our decor, I don't think we're going after Dougie Hamilton. I don't think we're going after a long-term deal for Seth Jones. Seth Jones has a year left on his deal. Why wouldn't you want to go play at the Bell Center for a year and try it out? I mean, that's kind of where I'm at with it, and then Ristolainen as well. So I think that I'll be shocked if we don't pick up, or at least seriously try to get one of these guys in Weber's absence, because what depends on this now too is if Weber's cap hit will be able to go fully onto LTIR for this season, right? So if it does, I don't see how we don't
should be.
I don't see how we don't. Yeah, once the NHL approves it, hopefully, then I don't see. And Bergevin is very optimistic that they will, because how many more injuries does the guy need to prove he's freaking hurt? He's going to consider retiring. So I think Seth Jones and Ristolainen, in terms of a temporary replacement for Weber, then once you get the news on the status of his career, then you look at re-signing. It just makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Get a guy for a year, and then look at signing somebody new long term if we have to.
Yeah.
If you want a short-term fix, definitely.
Those guys. There's a lot of interesting pieces on the market now.
Yeah, and for me, I also think that we've seen it with guys in Montreal so many times over the years. Danny Briere, Kovalchuk, guys just coming in because they want to get a taste of what it's like to be in Montreal. Yeah. And this isn't guys at the end of their career. This is guys in the middle of their career, and they have an opportunity to go play in Montreal and try it out and see is the Canadian market really worth it? I'm already under contract anyway. Don't have to worry about the taxes for a new contract. Maybe have to deal with the cold winter for one season, but why not? I mean, you don't want out of Buffalo to go play in Montreal for a season, or you don't want to go to Columbus. Not even insulting Buffalo. It's just, why wouldn't you want to roll the dice for 1 year? I just think that
no, it's not an insult to Buffalo or Columbus at all, but it's two teams that, let's be honest, this year not a great year, and Buffalo for the past several years hasn't been the dynastic. Can't talk. I really.
And Nick has not been drinking.
I have not. The type of team that we've been expecting out of them, but I mean, why not? Like you said, why not take a chance? Come to Montreal, where you could have a culture change and possibly lift up your career.
I just think guys are going to
Montreal.
start to, I just think guys are going to want to try to play with a coach like Ducharme, a younger coach who sees the game differently, isn't old school, isn't going to just not communicate when things aren't going right or whatever, like Claude Julien or Michel Therrien or whatever old school way guys have been getting in the past. And some of it worked. I mean, Weiser had a great relationship with Michel Therrien and gave him a chance, and we know that he had success under him. But I think a guy like Ristolainen or whoever, a young player like Seth Jones, somebody I think they can work under Don Ducharme. Like that's kind of where the tide shifts a bit for me in terms of players. Maybe, they're going to think about who their coach is, but I think they're also going to factor in other things too. I think that Don Ducharme could be one of the selling features for a player, but it's one season. I just think this one season, get a taste of a different market. I'd be surprised. I'm going to be shocked if we don't go after one of these guys.
No, definitely. Damon, before we bring on other guests here, I guess I'm just going to get your take on, do you think Shea Weber takes a full year off, returns, or do you think he calls it a career?
For me, I think right now, I just think Shea Weber has too much heart to call it just a career right here. But I do think Shea Weber, he really deserves his cup. He leads. We of course know he leads hockey, and the one stat that probably no one looks at, but we'll all laugh when we of course see the stat of putting the puck literally through the netting at the 2010 Olympics against Germany.
So,
so good.
Yeah, I think Shea Weber might just try to think about this. I think Shea Weber might just say he's healed from I can tell you this guy heals like Wolverine. I remembered in 2019 Nick Kipros reported, Shea Weber's going to retire at the end of this year, and then I remembered Shea Weber said, I'm fine, and then I remembered Shea Weber ended up being fine, and then I think Shea Weber, personally for me, I just think that he'll take it after 1 year. And then I think he might just continue to be continue physical training. And then depending on how he feels, I think that he'll try maybe to return or not. Or I remember Bruce Boudreau said that we might be trying a Tampa this year where we put a big contract on LTIR, but I don't think that's the case here. I just think this is really serious. But
yeah,
I think I just think that Shea Weber, I think he will miss this entire year. And I think we'll find a 1 year replacement. And then I think that it's from there. It's sort of up to the medical stuff. Graham Reinbend, I hope I'm saying that right, for our team medical doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's sort of going to be up to him and Shea Weber and what he wants, because I've heard a doctor report online this saying that Shea Weber the surgery could just be to maybe improve his life quality at this point, which I hope it's so that he can maybe play again, but because I would think that he really deserves another chance at his cup. So I really don't know, but I really hope to see him in the blue, white, and red again.
Yeah, I think that's the ultimate wish for everybody right now, is to wish him a speedy recovery and hopefully to see him back on the ice soon. So thank you for calling in, Damon. Always a pleasure, and have a good night, buddy.
You too. Take care, guys.
Good to see you again, buddy.
Cheers.
Take care.
We have Crushing Cans legend, Derek Weiss.
Hey guys,
what is going on, brother?
Nice to see you back, Deeksy. How was holidays?
Thank you, my friend. I missed you guys. It was good, man. Been back at work and stuff for a little bit now, but
nice.
Obviously, been watching the show when I can, and it's been weird. This whole season's gone by so quick, and here we are, and we're talking about our captain possibly retiring, and it's tough, man. I mean, I've got to get your take though, buddy, because I know you always have the most pure, relaxed.
Derek has apparently a defense solution, so I'm curious.
Hey, how are you?
I'm curious to hear what you've got planned.
I've heard a few things linked to saying we get Ryan McDonough. Not against that.
Okay.
I'll take it. They got to get rid of guys. David Savard down there.
David Savard.
You could play him in your low pairing defenseman there. You let Romeo come up. You saw what he can do. Let him grow, right?
Yeah.
Gugalewski coming out of Arizona. He wouldn't be a bad guy. Short-term deals though. You're not signing, these long lucrative contracts.
Well, that's the thing. McDonough's he's in until 2026 as well.
Yeah.
True.
6.75.
But he's been very resilient, right? I mean,
He's 32, but yeah.
Like I got the UFAs for defensemen here brought up. I'm a big fan of Nick Hjalmarsson too. He'd be a guy that could maybe you get one or two there. Edler, do you touch him if you can?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Possibly.
Would be my first choice, but
No.
I mean, maybe.
He's a UFA, so he might want to get paid, right? And he's well, you know what? He's 35.
He's 35 though, right? Like,
Yeah.
Same age as Shea. So yeah, come on a cheap deal.
Like maybe bring in a short-term like Band-Aid, hoping that everything goes well in the off season, and then he comes back, right?
That's why I was suggesting Ristolainen, because I just think that based on how long he's been in Buffalo and the comparables to now, it's like his plus minus isn't very good, but like I mean, it's
no one in Buffalo's are.
It's Buffalo,
right? I know. So
there's a strong trade history there too, right? So
there is.
You got to think that might play into it. I
think so, and like I think once we look at the forward group, I think Montreal might go after Sam Reinhart. I don't think we have enough in a package to deal for Eichel, but I mean, I would love to see something like that. But I think they're looking
so
for
expensive,
very expensive. So like that's not going to happen most likely. But I think Risto and maybe Reinhart would be targets I'd want to go after. With Tatar coming off the books, Danault likely coming off the books also. Like, we'll get into the forward stuff. In terms of talking about Shea tonight, I think that for some reason, knowing that there's already interest in Ristolainen just kind of makes sense to me, just based on the status, like we just talked about for the last 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. And like this, he's got experience. You don't got to come in and like wait for him to develop. We're not asking Cale Fleury, former Hab now, to come in and steal all these minutes. Like Ristolainen's used to these minutes, so plug him in with Ben Sherratt. Like, you don't like the sound of Ben Sherratt and Ristolainen together. Like, I just think it's a really, I don't know. I'll be happy. I'll be content if we can get a guy like him or Seth Jones, who they both have like a mid-range cap hit, but it's only for one more year until Shea decides what he's going to do.
And I think with Risto too, he's going to get new life coming in there, right? Where he's
got
a little bit
Montreal Dale
that
Weiss
good
vibe.
Yeah,
you're coming in just feeding off everybody. You know I'm getting at. You get the little Derek Weiss.
You get that high step coming out the gate, right?
Well, something.
Oh no, but it's gonna be an absolute whirlwind July into August here after the draft, and then
insane.
Maybe before the camp opens, that's when it'll die down for 2 weeks and whatnot. But it is going to be very interesting here.
Like,
I'm seeing.
Go ahead, Annik. Finish your.
I was gonna say I'm seeing a lot of people in chat suggesting guys like what's his name? Chris Letang. I personally would not touch that with a 10-foot pole. This guy is made out of chocolate. Like, he's constantly injured. So
he's.
What do you guys think? I mean, obviously, it's no offense to him, and he's a fantastic hockey player, but I would not touch that with a 10-foot pole.
I think he's part of that core, like that big three in Pittsburgh, where he moves if he wants to.
I think he said him and Crosby and Malkin all said they want to retire Penguins too.
Yeah,
I could see it happening. Yeah, but like, it's not somebody that I would feel comfortable adding.
No,
to replace Shea Weber. He's constantly injured, and he's still getting older too.
The fresh start factor is just a real That's a real thing for me. That's why I was thinking Risto or Colum, or Seth Jones. But
I mean, there's always the Keith Yandel.
I looked at his deal.
He's UFA. So,
what do you give a guy like that though?
3
tops,
right? Yeah, because he got bought out.
Yeah.
He's got money.
So what does that mean then? So does that mean like he's completely UFA? Then that's what you're saying?
Yeah, he can go wherever he wants.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got no.
He's going to be essentially double dipping. He's like retired and then going to get another job that you're collecting your pension from one place and getting paid from the other. He knows what's up.
Just living the dream,
right?
Keith Yandel and Risto.
And that's the thing though, right? Where I think he goes to Boston because Florida's gonna pay him to play against them. So
Boston sounds like that's just gonna happen for some reason.
But the thing is, though, it's guys playing in your hometown too, right? And I think Boston's kind of going to that retool where if you don't produce in your hometown, you're going to get it a little bit harder, you know?
Yeah.
I like that comment. He's not a top pairing D, but that guy can quarterback your power play. He's done it.
Could make a difference on it for sure.
He doesn't need to, play 25 minutes, but he gets out there and he quarterbacked your power play. And this power play, we've seen it struggle. You need, a guy that can, maybe, come through, throw it in, throw it to the sides, and, maybe 1T with KK and Caulfield and whatnot. But I am also a big fan of Sammy Vatanen. I've liked him in Anaheim. I liked what he did in Jersey. I think he's a low-key guy. He's been in the league long enough. He's still 30. I think he's still got some good years in him.
Yeah, what's his?
It would be a risk to take for sure, but I mean, it could pay off. I think it's going to be the most thing of the off season is, do you take the risks on so many players or do you play it safe?
But there's talks of Mike Hoffman,
yeah, but his wife is batshit crazy. Do you want that? That's a cancer in your locker room. You don't want that in your locker room.
There was a bunch of stuff last offseason too that they were trying to pull for him. And then he went to St. Louis, had an abundance of talent around him, didn't do that much.
He's been bouncing around like a yo-yo.
We had an insider on the trade deadline show that said that Mike Hoffman was coming to Montreal. Guys, come on.
Disappeared like a ghost right after, so I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. I don't.
But I think you don't go after guys that hit a plateau 3 years ago. So I mean, I get it. I'm getting the gears for Vatanen, but
no, he's not a bad pick. Man.
It's the thing about the Bell Center though. You get there, you get those,
a full Bell Center.
You're right.
Come on.
Which hopefully that pumps guys up.
You want to experience that at one point in your career, do you not? You talk about all these guys going through Buffalo that are losing the love of the game. Ryan O'Reilly, Josh Georges.
Ryan O'Reilly had to hit a Tim Hortons to get out of Buffalo, though. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
God love
sorry.
Him.
Sorry.
But, that's 3 players that have come out and rightly said, I lost my love of the game playing for the Buffalo City. And this is not against the fans. This is not.
No, because they have great fans.
You feel
there.
bad for the fans.
They have great fans there.
Bad for them. They have fans that are still going to the games with all this shit. That's dedication.
We're trying to get Melody Martin on the show because she's representing Buffalo hard.
Big Buffalo, yeah.
And she's
Got a feel for her.
We're trying to get Mel on. So Mel, if anyone has a connection, we want to have you on and chat with you. I can high five Sabres fans. That's how close I am, to their friggin' city here, man. So I need to look at the schedule quick and see when Montreal's playing in Buffalo in the fall, but it hasn't been. It's not on the website yet. But anyway,
I'm sure you won't have any trouble getting tickets.
Yeah, well, it's been that way for a long time, and it's not a bad problem for us, but. For the fans of the Sabres, yeah. I just think, Derek keeps saying, the Bell Center factor, especially if we have a full building again this year, which to me, the Stanley Cup run was great. It still wasn't the same, man. It wasn't the same.
You go from Tampa 1 and 2 and you come back and the fans were there, but it
not
wasn't
the same.
It really, really wasn't.
You're going to come back to a new season, depending on how many fans you let in, regardless if it's 10,000 or whatever. I'm expecting at least 10,000 in the stands with the way things are going.
The way things are going, it should. Because I think they were saying they want full buildings. Because we got...
Or at least half.
Here for the Bombers, we're home opener in 2 weeks.
You guys are good to go?
Stadium's full.
30,000.
Great.
So,
that's a good sign.
Champs. Let's go.
How can you not be? I mean, this is just me as a Montreal fan, but if you're any other player who's being offered to come play in Montreal, where you just come off of a Stanley Cup final run in a full building, that place is going to be rocking all year long. Nobody's been in there for I don't know how many days. It's going to be rocking. That would be the first place on my list.
It would.
You build off of that.
I kind of missed that.
We
So
gotta get
what would be the first place on your list, or did you say
Montreal?
Bell
Montreal would be
Center?
the first
Okay,
place on my
yeah.
list.
McLean's
Just
would be the first place for a couple
You
of
would stop to
bevies,
McLean's first,
and then we
and
then we
then-
head over to the Bell Center.
McLean's, Bell Center,
priorities.
Habs Tonight Live from the Bell Center? I like the sound of that.
Yeah, that would be unreal. That would be
Imagine
awesome.
that, the Habs that we get our own booths in the Bell Center next to Dan Robertson and the boys. Like, let's go.
Oh, boys, don't worry, we got
Cheers,
this.
boys.
Don't worry. Cracking cans.
Hold your beer. We got this.
As long as it's not Molson Export, because I just can't drink. I can't drink it.
We'll smuggle something in for
We'll
you.
smugglers,
Torque Brewing in the house. Well,
smugglers.
shout out Torque Brewing for that sponsor.
Yes, shout out to Torque for sure.
Danny said that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Danny, I think one of our regular callers said that he goes to Buffalo all the time, or maybe it's a different Danny. But he said that he goes to Buffalo all the time. I'm like, dude, come find me at the next Buffalo Montreal game. I will be there.
There you go.
So that's what I wanted to say. But that's
Closest for me would be 8 hours south to Minnie.
Oh, that's far away, man. We have Toronto, Buffalo. I never go to Toronto.
It's worth it. It's worth the trip though. Minneapolis is so fun.
Yeah. What's
So
the
much
tickets
fun.
like in Minnie anyway? Are they expensive or what?
No, not bad. Like
can't see
it's
the
one of
menu.
it's one of those barns where you're on top of the ice too. So like we sat one time I think in the top bowl for like $25.
Wow.
Okay.
And
You
then-
probably got like free parking,
Wow.
2 beers, and a hot dog with that.
Oh, you just stayed at a hotel. And then the best thing is you come out of the hotel, or not the hotel, the rink, you walk around right behind it. And you know the restaurant from the Mighty Ducks? Like the subway car?
Yeah.
Right there.
Oh shit.
That's so
Yeah, it's
sick.
awesome. It's so cool.
Does like
Hmm.
does Mrs. Charlie Conway like come bring a coffee or what?
No, but I saw Bombay like creeping through the window, seeing if she was working. So I don't know if there was a bad breakup or whatnot there. So
Right? And then Charlie's running out there crying because he's telling him he's leaving the team.
yeah, now he's wheeling Lauren Graham in the new one.
Terry and Jesse's dad are gonna take over for me. He's like, you can't leave us. You can't leave us. You made us and now you're stuck with us.
Oh, speaking of Senior Charlie Conway, he drew
Did he make the list?
He drew a 3 spot in the bracket.
Oh.
Buddy. Oh, he's got
Yeah, tell everybody about the bracket in case they didn't watch
The-
Crescent Cans this week.
We are doing a NCAA style 64 character entrant of fictional sports TV series or movies. No coaches because I would have rigged it for Tony D'Amato to win. But no, there is characters from all over, from all eras and whatnot. And we randomly took all 64 entrants, threw them in a hat today. I let the kids pull away. The brackets will be put up and they will be ready to go for cans.
I'm trying to upload
Next
it here
week.
so that's here we go.
Yeah.
Well, there it is.
Obviously empty for now, but will be filled up tomorrow morning.
The bracket. I will. I'll hit you with not telling you where they are, but
Some
Charlie
teasers?
Conway is up against 14th ranked Coffee Black from Semi Pro.
What about
we have-
Wow.
what about this is kind of on the borderline of inappropriate, but Jacques Lecoq Grande
Oh,
He didn't.
from the Love Guru?
he didn't make it?
He didn't make it.
Justin Timberlake. Come on.
What?
It's JT.
He didn't make it.
We're bringing sexy back. Okay, we're not.
I like that.
Pop-Tart with the ketchup.
There is a
love that
group
movie.
of death here, though. There is a bracket that is a legit group of death. So
Yeah.
two of my guys that I wanted to go all the way are head to head in the first round. Let's just put it that way. That's how
Can we answer Sarah here? Did Airbud make the cut?
Airbud's he's gone to the farm. We'll just put it that way. We're gonna
Oh my God.
we're gonna be nice about this.
But what about MVP?
MVP was in
That's
the
so
same
not
cab.
funny. Oh, you didn't put MVP on?
Nah, he's in
Damn
the same
it.
cab. His
Jack the Monkey. Jeez.
His
I was pretty pumped for Jack, but I mean, if Airbud's gone to the farm, I'm gonna make you a T-shirt of that.
Going to the farm.
Gone to the farm.
No, but I'm gonna take off here. I'm taking off
Thank
for the
you
weekend too. I'm going to no service line for 3 days. So
lucky you.
No service line. What kind of service is that? No, okay, what is that?
Heading up to the wife's sisters at.
I think they want you to leave. They're pulling off your.
We're heading up to Black Lake for the weekend. It's
nice.
Okay.
2.5 hours away. So pop by Dale's on the way out, say hi, and then another hour past him. So
well, have a great weekend and time away from your phone. We shall be jealous of you, and I guess we'll see you for cans next week. Do you have a maybe cans next week, or
you gotta ask Brando about that one?
Gotta ask the upper management.
Yeah, right. ask the big man. So
final take. Actually, no. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's with all his stuff going on, so we're working around his schedule.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, next week for sure we're gonna unveil it somewhere.
Perfect.
Would you want a final take on there, Dekes?
Has Shea Weber played his last game in the NHL?
I'm gonna say no.
Hot take. Boom. Drop the mic. All right.
No. All right.
No, bye.
Yeah. Bye.
No. Bye.
Right.
Have a good night, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers, brother, man. You heard it here first, folks. You heard it here first.
That's a hot take.
Shea Weber has not played his last game in the NHL. I don't know. I'm hoping. Lord help us all.
Before we wrap up, we're hitting on an hour here.
Yeah.
Another thing that was discussed throughout Bergie's presser today was the fact that Philippe Danault has basically walked away, and he was asked, is it confirmed that he's not going to be in the Habs uniform next season or whenever? And Bergie said, and nothing is official until he signs a contract. He could still come back. So I want to get your take. Do you think we'll see Phil Danault back, or do you think he's going to sign somewhere else?
Something just with the Landeskog stuff being up in the air. I think I just don't know the answer to that question yet. Mm-hmm. With Colorado and their future, because I feel like Danault could be such a good shutdown center for the Colorado Avalanche. And I don't know that he would care if he was more of like a third line guy. You know, like I don't know that, it bothered him if he was behind Rantanen and McKinnon. But at the same time, like, I think what Bergie's really just saying there is the door is still open, but we have our price and it's probably set where it's going to be, and we're not going to go any higher. And I think other teams are willing to pay more for Phil Danault's services. So I think that the door is still open. Like, Bergie will still take a phone call about it, and maybe touch base with Phil and just see where he's at one last time. But I think that it could be a situation like Dale mentioned years ago, where Dale was offered a contract and it was too late. Philly had already basically committed and started the process with Dale, and by the time the Habs got in touch with him, it was too late to bring him back. So I think that the writing's on the wall. Usually when there's smoke, there's fire. I think I'll be shocked if Phil does come back at this point. I think I'd really like to try to go after like a more offensive centerman at this point. I mean, I don't know who's really out there. They're the hardest position to come by, and that's what we said. Like, Jack Eichel, players like that just aren't going to be available most likely. But then again, if Rantanen as a winger is available, I think you go with Suzuki, KK, and Jake Evans, and then Ryan Poehling as your centerman, next year. So
I'm hoping to see, like you said, sorry to cut you off here, to see Poehling crack the lineup. I mean, if none of you have seen Dale's comments on Joël Bouchard so far, it would appear that he had a negative effect on Poehling's development in Laval. So I'm kind of hoping to see him thrive under a new culture if he makes the Montreal lineup, or even under a new coaching staff with Jean-François Houle in Laval this year. So cracking the lineup could be great for him, could be great for us. But to touch back on Danault, I wanted to make a point on what Sarah said here is, will he get the amount of money that he's been offered? Let's say he's been offered his 5.5 in Montreal, doesn't take it. Will he get that kind of money to be playing third C minutes somewhere else?
On a shorter term deal, I think he might. But I think
on a shorter term, but he's looking on a long term.
Yeah.
So I don't see him.
Is he? I mean, like I think he wants to win. I think he wants to win more than anything, and that's where I think Colorado would be a good fit. And even if it's a shorter term deal, even if he only goes there for 2 years, 3 years, pushing it maybe at 4 years. And really, Colorado's not the only option. Like there's other places he.
Oh no, for sure. He could fit at many different places, but you're not going to be getting those minutes as a third C when you've got the opportunity right now to potentially be a second C in Montreal. I'm seeing Suzuki as my first C next season. No questions asked.
I think he's going to start there. Yeah.
That's my personal opinion. From what I've seen from Suzuki this postseason and this year, I think he's ready. I think you take a shot, you put him as a first C. KK is going to be your second C, obviously, but as Bergie said, he's the type of player where when he's consistent, he knows his game. He's going to be amazing on the ice, but as soon as he loses touch with a bit of his game, he's very inconsistent. But he's still 21, right? There's a lot of time to develop that, to fix that. So I don't know if he's going to see that same amount of money somewhere else, and if he doesn't and tries to come back, is it going to be too late? Is Bergevin going to wait to see? Let's see if Danault signs somewhere else before we go and take someone, or is he going to take the chance to jump on someone who's available right now? And if Danault tries to come back, well, too bad, so sad. The position's filled. No pun intended on that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Like
it's filled.
It's filled. Did you hear that, folks?
Boy.
A dad joke. It's been too long for a dad joke, right? So
I'm so sorry.
Girl. Proud of you. But I think that he wants to win. I think he wants to go to a contender right now. Like I think he's going to go to an American team that's going to get that nice contract without the taxes in Quebec. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where he ends up. I think there's potentially a lot of suitors, but because of how close Colorado thinks they are, I just think they could be one of them. But other than there, I mean, like, what if LA grabs, say, like Jack Eichel and then makes Danault their second line center? I think that he could still be a second line center in a lot of teams, but where, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Tampa made an offer for Danault. I really wouldn't. Like, as much as you don't want to say that because, we're not Tampa Bay fans, but yeah, like I see him going to maybe even the Florida Panthers. I think that I think he just wants to go where he has the best opportunity to win a Stanley Cup. He was this close. He wanted to bring it back to Montreal, and you know what? He will. Wherever Phil Danault wins the Stanley Cup, if he does, he'll bring it back to Montreal one way or another. So that's what I think he wants to do, and I think he'll, play elsewhere doing that. I hope. I don't know that I hope I'm wrong, but I just don't know if we have any better options at center right now. In terms of the offseason, like it's just so crazy. I don't really know who we can target.
Forget about Evans too. Evans is going to be. Now, my ideal would be, like I said, I'd go for Suzuki, KK, Evans, and Paling, or even swap Paling and Evans. That's my 4C lineup right now.
I think I'm good with that. And honestly, I'd be more than happy seeing Paling slot into that third line center and get more offense out of him if possible. And,
depending what your fourth line is going to look like too, right? Because Corey Perry, that's a guy that you want back on your lineup. Perfect for the fourth line. Can you get Armia there too?
Yeah, Perry's going to get an offer. Armia might get an offer from Bergie. So we'll see
if that's your fourth line, I mean, it's proved effective in the postseason, right? So
very effective.
I'm not too worried about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think too, like Ducharme is the coach of the future for the young guys, so that's why a guy like Paling coming in, perfect that Dom Ducharme is slotted in as now the head coach of the Montreal Canadiens, and you know what you're getting, and you know how big on communication Dom Ducharme is. So I think that Paling I think Paling's going to thrive under Dom Ducharme. Jonathan Drouin's going to be back to his old self. Like, that's a relief today to talk about Jonathan Drouin in that light. And I know that we all have mixed feelings on Drouin and how he's been, but obviously, like, we've seen now for sure that there's something going on outside of the hockey world with him that had a major effect on his life that made him like literally walk away from the team before they went on a Stanley Cup run. So I don't know that I like Jonathan Drouin on my first line. Like, I know Suzuki's our first line center in our minds, but if he's going to play with Suzuki and Caulfield, I don't like that as a first line. I think that's more of a second line to me. But I don't think the lines are set yet. I just think that I want to see Drouin play at least try to play with Suzuki and Caulfield, because that could just be a pure skill line.
Test it out, right? See what works.
And see what works, yeah. So I guess we got to wrap here, but final thoughts on Shea Weber. I think we've already really shared everything we wanted to on him. I think it was really cathartic to get this out of us tonight, just to purge the emotion that we had today regarding Shea Weber. But I just want to say I've appreciated him so much as a Montreal Canadian. I was there when Shea Weber played his first game as a Montreal Canadian in Buffalo.
Oh, nice.
And that was the season Radulov came in. We had Sergachev, believe it or not, at the time, saw him play as well. So that was a team that went to the playoffs in 2017, and then we lost in the first round. But that first season under Weber, I mean, I was so
big
happy.
Change.
It's such a big change, but it was such a cool thing to have a player like him on our team. Like, you just had another all-star. We've had Carey Price on the team for so long. We haven't had any other superstars, right? And to me, Weber, and you'll agree, is a Hall of Fame caliber all-star defenseman. And we've seen him have the hardest shot, under second to only Zdeno Chara in the world. And I'm not ready to say goodbye yet to him. And I think that's why we've got the Weber paraphernalia up here tonight. And I really respect what he's been able to do for the Montreal Canadiens and continuing that class, sort of, just the kind of player that Montreal gets behind. And Bergie's been such a big supporter of his, obviously, and a guy that just represents well, does his job, keeps his mouth shut. He's a guy that doesn't have to say much, but people can say much with the way that they play. And I think that Markov was a similar player like that. My favorite defenseman of all time, my favorite player of all time, was Andrei Markov, but Shea Weber is like right up there now. And I'm a defenseman.
Well deserved.
Yeah. So they've inspired me to play the way that I do, which is an offensive defensive style. And I just appreciate everything Weber's done. So I just want to say thanks to him. And I don't want to say that he's done yet, but I just wanted to take some time, at least now, knowing it's certainly very possible that we've seen the last of him in the NHL. And, I really hope it's not true, but at the same time, I really hope he's healthy and happy.
Yeah, that's what matters.
If that happens, that first and foremost, that he's healthy and happy, then we can deal with the rest.
No, very well said. And I mean, to conclude on my end too, I mean, it's his health outside of hockey right now that's the most important part for not only himself but his family as well. So it's best wishes and best recovery to Shea Weber. If he's able to come back, more power to him. We'll gladly welcome him back with open arms. If he can't, it is what it is. You just have to be thankful for the time you've had with him, for what he's done for the organization and the fan base. So we're extremely thankful for everything Shea Weber's done so far. So best wishes to him if he hears us. I mean, the whole fan base is behind you, buddy. To quickly touch on Jonathan Drouin, we are extremely happy to hear that he's doing well and that he will return for training camp. Hopefully he'll be able to turn his game around under Don Ducharme for a first full season under Ducharme's system. That's going to be great for him. Whatever else happens. It's going to be a great off season. The Habs tonight team isn't going anywhere, that's for sure. So I don't know if you want to take us through a little bit of what we've got coming up for everybody in the next few weeks.
Yeah, well, we have the drafts tomorrow. So the 2021
insane week.
NHL entry draft is tomorrow. It's just a crazy year. And Montreal's pick is 31st, so we're not really that excited. It's a first-round pick that feels like a second-round pick. Even Marc Bergevin said that today. But, it's still an important time, and trades can happen. So you and I are going to come on hopefully Saturday morning ahead of the second day of the draft and talk about, the Canadiens picks and some of the deals that went on throughout the day. So we're going to do a little draft recap on Saturday morning. Because at that point, I mean, are you really drafting players that are going to be impact players for the Montreal Canadiens? Maybe not. But again, Caden Primo was a 7th-round pick. There's guys that were later-round picks that became something special. So you never really know. But we're going to come on, you and I, and do that. And hopefully we get some deals to talk about. That would be really fun. We saw the Max Domi, Josh Anderson trade happen before the draft last year. So that was a really good one to talk about. And, we're hoping to have current Montreal Canadiens players. I can't say names, but we do have some names that Dale has been in touch with current roster players in the Montreal Canadiens, and we're waiting confirmation on some of those players that you're going to love. and hoping to jump on with us. We don't know if it's going to be live or recorded. We don't know, but we're going to get them on soon.
Possibly Wednesday.
Possibly this Wednesday, guys. A big deal. Wish I could say the person, but I'm not going to. So, and you'll be glad when you hear who it is. I think either way, if he's able to make it on. So we're looking forward to that, and then of course free agency on Wednesday as well. Wednesday is going to be crazy next week. So we got potentially we have free agency starting at noon. So we're going to be coming on live as deals break with the Montreal Canadiens, Annik, Shane, and myself. And we'll grab Dale Weiss hopefully at night, maybe at some point if we can. I'm not sure what the situation's like, but I think he's going to be jumping on with Weissy Wednesday either way. So I think we'll probably, at minimum, my gut feel is that we're going to do a recap of free agency day on Weissy Wednesday, including hopefully a live interview with a current Montreal Canadiens player. So that's
the
what
plan.
I think the plan is right now. So we'll leave it at that. Crushing Cans, of course. Check out the episodes of the Kraken Cans. That was a really fun episode. You guys, it was awesome. With the Seattle Kraken coming into the NHL officially now, with Derek and Dale doing that, or Derek and Brandon doing that show. And follow us on social media, guys. We're almost at 7,000 followers on Twitter. So be sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Reddit. We're out there. And be sure, if you haven't already, to subscribe to the Habs Tonight YouTube channel. Just past 9,000 subscribers. We're going for that 10K mark, and I think we're going to hit it soon. But it doesn't happen without you guys. And for those that are still watching, thank you.
Just a couple more shows. Autour de la Ligue on Monday is going to be live with Shane and myself. So if you want to join for the French fan base, full French show.
Of course, yes.
Next week, you and I are starting our very own show called Flashback Fridays. So it's going to be great. We're going to put a poll out there next week to ask you guys what moment is the most memorable for you, either with the Montreal Canadiens or throughout the league. And Dekesy and I are going to cover it. Just have some fun with it. It's going to be a new segment, pre-recorded, 10-15 minutes of just pure fun. So keep an eye out for that. And I think that's about it. I just want to give a shout out to the merch. Grab yourself some cool shirts, some hats, some you name it. We have it. Check out the website at habstonight.net. Place your order. Not to brag, but these things are extremely comfortable. I was not expecting this much comfy, but very fun.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, we might as well throw up the full graphic here because there you go. It's pretty. This is Annik's handiwork. Annik and our producer James have really worked hard to create the first set of merchandise. My dad just got a golf shirt, which he absolutely loves. I didn't get a chance to tell you guys that, but I've seen him wearing it twice already.
Oh, really?
The new golf shirt. My dad golfed.
Shane said it was comfy.
Yeah, he loves it. My dad absolutely loves it. The logo looks great. We're very fortunate to have our own unique brand that our followers, fans can participate in. That is copywritten to us and to our fans and to our followers. So that's really cool. And so anyway, we have lots coming up. The off season is not an off season for us at Habs Tonight. So stay tuned, guys. We got lots coming up, and we can't wait to bring you. Next week's a big week. I hope that everything falls into place the way it will. But either way, free agency and then hopefully a live interview with a Montreal Canadiens player that you hopefully can interact with. We'll let you know, standing by, who that's going to be.
There we go. So that's about it for tonight. Thank you for joining us, you guys. It was great to have a group therapy session, and here's to hoping that we did not see Shea Weber's last game into the NHL. We will see you guys soon. Have a good night.
Cheers, guys. See you.